Late Night Health continues. This hour, we're going to be spending some time with Carrie Gray. She's the founder of Greensurance. It's a really unique program for alternative health practitioners. And we'll be talking to her in about a half hour. So if you want to, if you have regular insurance and you want to go to an alternative practitioner, often you're not allowed to, but with the Greensurance, you can. We have your picture up here. Our next guest is Sherry Torkos, and we have Sherry's picture up on our monitors here in the studio. And hubba hubba, you're welcome into studio anytime, Sherry.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
And I have your picture up on my screen, too.
Not bad for an old guy, huh?
Looking good.
Sherry is a holistic pharmacist. You have both a bachelor's degree in regular pharmacy, and then you're also a registered pharmacist. How does that work?
That's right. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy, and I actually went to the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and Science. And I have always been very keen and interested in natural medicine, and that's the area that I've really branched into specializing in. So when patients come to see me, I'm not just dispensing medication, but I also talk to them about the role of vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, different nutraceuticals, things that they may want to consider for prevention or to complement the medication they're taking. I also spend a lot of time working with people from a dietary perspective because I'm a strong believer in the healing power of food. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I was really, my eyes were opened up to this when I was in my late teens, early 20s, when I was diagnosed with celiac disease and wasn't able to get any better with the conventional medical approach. And I started, looking into ways that I could improve my health. And I think for a lot of people that are in the natural health arena, we've come to it from a perspective of a personal journey and interest. And in my case, it's what I went through as a teenager, and it's really fueled my desire and my interest to work in this area.
Celiac disease is a reaction to gluten, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
that's right. It's an intolerance to gluten. It's an autoimmune disease, and it is becoming more and more widely diagnosed. It's estimated to affect about 1% of the population. But back when I was diagnosed in the 80s, it was not that well known. It was I was the only person that I had ever heard of that had this condition. And back then they thought it was, affected 1 in 3,000 or 4,000. We now know that it's very common. And the problem is when people go for a long period of time without being diagnosed, it can affect their health in very profound ways. And in my case, eating gluten, foods that contain gluten, such as wheat, pasta, breads, things like that, it's actually damaging the absorptive surface of my intestine. And so I developed widespread nutritional deficiencies. It affected my hair, my skin, my nails, the way my energy levels. I was anemic. I had a lot of issues that could only be resolved by avoiding gluten from my diet and then also taking supplements to restore my health.
But your doctors didn't say that. Your MDs didn't say that.
No, they did not. Unfortunately, my doctors actually, in the early stages of this process, I went to about 10 different doctors, and they all had different opinions. Nobody thought celiac. I was tested for Crohn's and colitis and irritable bowel, and I was even told at one point, despite the fact that I had diarrhea for years, that some doctor thought that I needed more fiber in my diet, so they had me eating wheat bran, and that almost killed me. And that brought me to a specialist who finally diagnosed it. So I guess in a way it was a blessing because I was on death's door, actually, and had lost my night vision. I was covered with rash, and my hair was not growing. It was not the picture of health.
Not the beauty you are today.
Far cry from how I look today. But anyways, yeah, it was quite a journey. It was very scary for my parents because they just kept taking me doctor to doctor, and they're putting me on different drugs. None of them were working. I was getting sicker, and thankfully I did get a diagnosis. And once I was put on the gluten-free diet, I started to feel better. But it wasn't really until I started taking supplements and, was working at supporting and restoring my health that I began to feel better, have more energy, and gradually rebuild my whole health.
How do you feel about big pharma today, pharmaceuticals? Do you dispense those today?
I do dispense medications, yes, and I think medications have their role. I'm always concerned when we rely only on pharmaceuticals. I think if you're looking at some of the biggest health threats that face people today, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, yes, medications may be necessary in some cases, but there's also a lot we can do from a lifestyle perspective, and I think we don't often, or doctors in general don't often give enough credence to the value of, good night's rest and managing your stress and eating the right foods. We know that foods are just packed with great nutrition that can provide the nutrients your body needs to heal. I think that supplements, there are a lot of supplements that have good clinical research that can be beneficial. I'm not one or the other. So people will say to me, well, you're a pharmacist. We're surprised that you're pro-natural products.
Right.
And I believe in an integrative approach where we can use the best of both worlds, the best of conventional medicine, the best of natural medicine, and, approach health from a variety of modalities.
Integrative medicine is something that is becoming more and more prevalent in healthcare.
Absolutely. Yeah, we see that more and more today where I find patients will say to me that, they went to their doctor, they have this, and they're no longer just willing to take that prescription. They read on the internet, they look at options. Sometimes it's the cost of the drug or the side effect of the drug that's a bit of a deterrent. So people will start looking at other options. And, thankfully, we have a lot of good natural products today that are safe, that are clinically tested, that can do some things even that drugs can't do.
And without side effects or minimum of side effects.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, there are still risks when we're taking natural products. There can be certain interactions or side effects and certain precautions, but generally speaking, they have a greater margin of safety.
And they're also a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper, yeah, for sure. For somebody that doesn't have coverage for medications, some of the medications, I've seen people that have spent $100 a month, hundreds of dollars a month on medications, and when we're looking at some of the dietary natural approaches, in a lot of cases it can be very affordable.
And of course, as a pharmacist, you make money dispensing pharmaceuticals, but you'd rather promote supplements?
Yeah, so in my case, I don't own the pharmacy. I work at a pharmacy as a staff pharmacist. I just work part-time now since I had a baby boy a couple of years ago. So
congratulations.
I just work part-time. Thank you. And so for me, when people come to see me, if they give me a prescription and I don't feel it's in their best interest, I might call the doctor and say, the patient, we've had this discussion. We're looking at some other options. And sometimes the doctors are not happy about that, but I like to keep them in the loop. Just as, doctors take that oath to do no harm, pharmacists too, we're not just interested in making money. We want to see our patients do well. And so, depending on the case, I may recommend a vitamin or an herb or something I have in the pharmacy, or if I don't have it in the pharmacy, I might send them to a health food store.
Got it. Our guest is Sherry Torkos. Torkos?
That's right.
And she's written 18 books. She's a youngin'. But some of the young doctors and pharmacists are taking this integrative approach to healthcare, and they're really helping people much more than the 4-minute visit that you get when you go and visit, a traditional MD who may be older. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, I would say that more and more of the new practitioners are open-minded and more willing to consider the other options. They're also getting more training. I know in medical schools, also in pharmacy schools, there is more training provided on natural products, and that's fantastic. Because back when I went to school, I recall the big focus was drugs, and a lot of the doctors that I worked with, they told me they didn't learn anything about nutrition, and very little learned about nutrition, and absolutely nothing at the time about natural products. So we are seeing a change. It's challenging because the drug industry does fund a lot of the continuing education for the doctors. And the natural products companies, they don't have the deep pockets of the drug industry. So, while they do try to educate and devote resources to that area, they don't have the funds to spend. So there are some good courses that are now available, though, for doctors and for pharmacists, any healthcare professional, where they can learn more about natural products. And when I was working on my most recent book, I wrote a book called the Canadian Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine, and it's a resource guide. It's an A to Z resource guide on using natural health products integratively with conventional medicine to manage various health conditions. And my book has been very widely accepted by both the public and also healthcare practitioners.
Which is a great thing. Our guest, Sherry Torkos, she's a holistic pharmacist. We're going to talk in just a couple of moments about superfoods to supercharge your fall. And we're going to use, I guess, food as a medicine, right?
That's
Sherry?
Right.
Wouldn't you say that? So we're going to take some time out, and we're going to invite people to visit latenighthealth.com. If you look under S for Sherry, you'll see her pretty picture, her bio, and a link to her website so you can take a look at some of her books if you would like. I'm Mark Alyn. Join us at latenighthealth.com and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/latenighthealth. I know that Sherry's going to like us today as well. All right, we'll be back. Don't go away. Sherry and I return along with the insane Daryl Wayne here on Late Night Health.